Some photographers chase the action. Tom Baigent, he lives inside it. From Alpine's garage chaos to those rare, calm moments right before a storm of carbon fiber and engine rage. Tom doesn't just shoot motorsport. He makes it look... Oh, can't say it. The script says cinematic. No. Hello there and welcome back. My name is Ian, and in this series, I do my absolute best to not judge everyone's photos like a judge on a clipboard scoring everyone for top prize. No, instead, every single week, I will be breaking down some of the most inspirational photos and the photographers who took them, and this week, we dive into some of the photos from Tom Baigent. And Tom, please, for the love of God, if I am pronouncing your name incorrectly, tell me. So just like last week in episode 1, I have my iPad with me, and this way I can actually see what I am breaking down for you guys as far as what is inspirational. So here he is, Tom Baigent. As you can see, I don't really know if that last name is correct or not with how I'm pronouncing it, but regardless. This kid, and yes, I do say kid because he lists that he is 20 years old, and I am not 20 anymore. He says that he's freelance, and I know in the intro that I said he's with Alpine. Honestly, I just said that because the majority of what I see him post has to do with Alpine. So maybe he's freelance and that Formula One team is just his primary client. Doesn't really matter. Let's just go straight into some of the shots that he has taken recently that I am like fully just drooling over. Number one, right off the bat, you see it. I mean, it's a pit shot. The fact that there's a pit stop and the driver is helmetless tells me that this is most likely from like a practice session. Not even a practice session, but just a pit practice. Cars coming in only like 5 feet just to give the pit crew practice of raising, release the wheel, replace the wheel, lower. And that's kind of it. But I love this shot. Number one, because Tom chose to do it in black and white. And Alpine's colors are super contrasty, super punchy. And the fact that he did black and white kind of brings you into the moment. I'm going to say that Tom used something like a 60th or slower of a second because humans naturally have movement, and really you start to see that movement once you kind of go lower than like 100th of a second. And honestly, I love this. Like all of the motion is coming into the driver without really needing to like move the camera. It's all of the pit crew coming in and going into the car, which is under the driver. And it's such a great just sense of here I am. This was just a fantastic job, both in composition and in design, like his eye to be able to capture something like this, and the edit. This was a fantastic job, Tom, really. I can't really find a name for this technique of like failing to do a proper, pan shot. And when I say fail, I mean like the subject isn't perfectly in focus. But in reality, a lot of photographers, myself included, we will fail purposefully to get these types of shots, and I have started to call them flurry pan, because not just the background, but the subject and the movement in the vehicles and the highlights off of everything just create this sense of motion that you don't really get in a perfectly positioned pan where the subject is completely in focus. It's a different emotion. Like honestly, a regular pan doesn't really give me anything as far as photographer. Like, cool, I did my job. Like that's great, but it doesn't give me that artistic feeling. These flurry shots give me that, because I at least am now at a level in my motorsport photography journey where I'm doing these on purpose. But still, because it's a pan, every shot looks so different, and the highlights and the almost like it's brushwork over the vehicle. It's just I can't get enough of this type of pan. I really can't. And I love that Tom decided to keep this in full color because there's so much happening, but at the same time, there's no pink anywhere else other than the vehicle down below. And that's what pulls you down. It's not that it's in perfect focus. It's that he's letting your eye travel. If you notice, there's no rule of thirds here. If you do the cross beams, he's well below that bottom third. And I admire that choice because I break that rule consistently. It's there to be broken, but it needs to be done right. And Tom did on this, at least from my opinion. love these types of shots. Not just because you're getting cockpit and like down into kind of like this condensed world that the driver has to live in for, you know, a few hours at a time. It's because this shot was made one of two different ways, because I've done one of the techniques because it's a technique, and I haven't done one of the others because it's an additive piece of equipment that I just don't have. So he's done one or the other, and honestly, I can't tell which. The first thing, it's a long exposure, but instead of holding the camera steady to allow for everything else to move in front of it and the subject doesn't really move, he opens the shutter by hitting the trigger and he turns it. He does his best to keep the lens, to keep the sensor as even as possible so that he's not making, you know, straight lines with the turn. It's just a turn. Depending on the amount of time that the shutter was open, just like a pan, things will move or move less. Things will move more or less. Got caught up there on just the word more. Don't know why. The other way that Tom could have made this is with a circularizing filter. Big thing of why I don't think he did it with a filter is because normally there are like trail offs with those kinds of filters where it's like, you know, streak filter or ghost filter or, you know, circularizing. And yes, there are trails, but it doesn't trail off. If you notice, the easiest thing to tell on here is with that A right there of the Alpine. That's not a trail off. It's a hard open and move. That's why I'm leaning towards this shot being the technique version. And I would love to talk to Tom about this because I love doing these types of shots. I've never thought about doing them in like a cockpit because there's too many variables. But Tom chose to do it still in the cockpit. And honestly, maybe it's because, you know, the drivers, at least in Formula One, are pretty well strapped in. Like they're not really able to move. They're able to do about this, and that's about it. So maybe that's why he felt it was okay to do it there, but maybe not. Maybe I'm missing something. Kept this in, had to throw one of these in here. This was just a perfect client shot. It's a beautiful example of just a great client shot, a beautiful example of a client shot. Just crisp, clean, shoot it, edit within 30 seconds, ship it off to a client and let them post on their social of immediate usage. Okay, I love this for a few reasons. Another flurry pan, but he was trying to hit it in focus. So the reason I can say that is because pretty much right around the cockpit, it's not perfectly in focus. However, it is far more in focus. The movement everywhere around almost pulls your eye in as if it's like a radial mask, except it's like radial movement. So like it's a lot, little, none. So like that's kind of how that works. And this is a gorgeous shot. So that's number one. Number two, I love this because it shows the dimension shift from subject to shooter while the subject is just barreling down a straight or around a corner. It's same thing. The dimensions of the vehicle shift the closer it comes in relation to the lens. So if you're shooting very fast, like normal at 4,000th of a second, if you're shooting that fast, you're not going to get this dimension shift. But if you're doing like pans, pretty much anything slower than about a 60th, depending on the range that you are to the subject, pretty much if you're at like a 60th or slower, you're going to see the dimension shift of the vehicle. And you can see it in drifting as well. Like I've got some severe warping when they're hitting like a touch and go point or an inner clip and then shifting to an outer zone. It's fantastic to like watch the dimension in a single photograph just completely warp out of normalcy. And that's exactly what happens here. You can see that in the single frame from just that spot in the wheel, that circle to that circle, it's like the car is probably moving a good 8 solid inches, maybe even a little more. That's how much like dimension shifts. Like look at that rear axle. That thing is like a cone. That shift is so drastic. And I love seeing stuff like this because it warps the reality and it creates such a sense of motion and liveliness that otherwise is escaped. It's gone and you'll never know these things. But then the other reason that I love this is because the lines, so they're not straight lines, which tell me Tom was not on a straight. Pierre may have been coming out of an exit of a turn, and that's why the dimension shifts so far, and it kind of looks like the lines on the right are a little more level, just a little, than the ones on the left. And so that's what's telling me it's turn straighter. So the longer you shoot things like this, the more you'll be able to kind of see small details like that and really kind of pick apart how these shooters are able to get these amazing shots. It also allows you to be able to self-critique as well. I just amazing. Being able to shoot like this should not be legal when you're 20 years old. It's so good. It's so fucking good. And I'm not an Alpine fan at all. I would happily put this up on my wall. Happily. Oh, I can't get enough of these. I really I can't. There's so much life to them. I gotta skip it. I'll just gush over it for hours. I kept this really for one reason. It's a fantastic car-to-car shot, and yes, in motorsport, these are not called rollers. It's called car-to-car. I kept this shot in here for one real good reason. I hear a lot of motorsport photographers say, oh, I just want a really bright, sunny day. I get why, but I also don't. And this might just be because, prior to motorsport, I have 19 years of shooting experience in many other different facets of photography, and one of them was landscape. And I'm sorry, but like a white sky just bores the absolute shit out of me. Like, it's just, it's so boring. Like, I shoot down so often when it's just a clear sky just because it's boring. This, however, is definitely not boring. It's so lively and so character driven. It's like the clouds have more character arc in this one fucking story than some characters did in 7 seasons of Game of Thrones. Yeah, I went there. Let's go. But in all seriousness, it's fantastic. Oh, so much life. So it's kind of like a mix between like a diopter and a ghost filter, and maybe he's using one, maybe both, I don't know, but definitely like a split, so it's not the full. And it's a great decision because there was empty space over there, and now he didn't have to recrop or recenter because there's life happening on this whole side of the frame. And see, these are like conscious decisions in the crop and in the shot itself that these photographers have to make. And for every shot that you see, there's 1,000 that you don't. But when you get to this level, it becomes, for every shot you see, there's 100 you don't, because they become more conscious of their decisions and more precise with what they need to do and when. All right, so I cannot tell what Tom did with this. It almost acts like a double exposure, almost, with like a half ghost effect, because it's not like a streak filter, because there would be streaks on either side of the light, not just on one. It's not ghost filter because it would become more opaque. No. It would become more transparent as the trail gets further and further away from the original light source, but it doesn't. It gets skinnier, kind of like an arrow. And so that's why I'm leaning toward it. It could be a double exposure. You know, he did like one solid and then one dragged, or, you know, reverse. And when you drag, the things that become the obvious thing in the frame are the highlights. So all of those lights, it kind of makes sense. Feel like it was a double exposure. And even if it wasn't, it's an amazing shot in terms of composition. There's one woman in focus. She's lit. She's one of the only two people not really blocked by like light streaks. The other person is the one next to her, but he's not lit. So your eyes don't go to him. So your eyes go immediately to the woman with glasses, and then straight to the light she's holding, and then the streak, and then the rest of the streaks. And it's amazing. And this type of effect, I almost hope it's not a filter. I almost hope that this 20-year-old kid was able to, on the spot, just be like, you know what? I'm going to do a double exposure here because I know what I can get. I know. I almost want him to be that good, because knowing someone that young is that in tune with his understanding of the concept of photography and just the concept of techniques and everything could drive me so far. If it's a filter, honestly, I get less inspired because it's like anyone can buy it, anyone can shape it, and I want this to be a technique. I do. Oh, I really hope it is now. Which now leads me to my last photo. Damn! And I think it's a filter, honestly, because his clothes at the BWT are too in focus. See, maybe it's not a filter now that I see this again. This could just be like a drag down or even like a drag down and up, because there's like this jitter motion and some of the movement is going up above the subject and others is going slightly down, like slightly. So it could be like a jitter. I'm more leaning towards it being a filter because of that kind of like oscillation. It's not uniformed. And normally if you do something like this, your hand isn't perfect. There's going to be minor movements to the left and right, and it won't work. But regardless of what it is, it's just such a good fucking photo. All the highlight from behind the pit or from outside of the paddock is just highlighting into the shape of the car, the shape of the cockpit that the driver is just almost being born from. Just fucking gorgeous. And it's such a power shot. Like, and again, not an Alpine fan. I would put this on my wall. Like, right there. I would put it on my wall in a fucking heartbeat. Okay, so yeah, that was Tom Baigent. Just a casual reminder that some of us are pretty good photographers and others, like Tom, live in their own fucking photography universe that we just are not allowed to visit. In all honesty, I'm not even like mad or anything. If anything, I'm motivated. Okay, I might be a little jealous, but not necessarily of him or his shots, but because he gets, full media pass for F1 races and I don't yet. If Tom's work hit you guys like it hit me, then please drop a comment. Tell me which one just like spoke to you, reached out to you, grabbed you by your soul and went, hey, wake the fuck up and shoot better. Which one? Because for me, it was all of them. And my email is listed below. It's public. It's in this video, the post. Like, just open the see more section and email me. Tell me about the photographers that inspire you or the individual photos that have gotten you just like up and running and just ready to go and get shit done. Also, if this video did not suck, please subscribe and hit the like button. I don't know if I did those in the right order, but I'll get it. And if it did suck, I'm sorry. Go watch something else. This is going to keep happening, and I'll see you guys on episode 3.